Ohayo, my ohanas, Hannah here, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we're going to be kicking off the Let's Talk series, and this section is going to be books. So the Let's Talk series is a series where we're going to be talking about things I'm actually passionate about. So like books, I don't know, anime, manhwa, mangas, stuff like that. In this section, we're going to be talking about books, and specifically Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. Hopefully I'm pronouncing her name correctly. And it's a book I read last year as part of a book club, and I'm just really excited to share with you guys. So this book is set in the 90s, so you see a lot of references to us that time period and the stereotypes that happened during that time period, and it's mainly focusing on, I don't know, I feel like it highlights a part of the industry, the gaming industry, and it's just really nice to see. So it also highlights like women in the workforce and stuff like that. And I feel like the author really did a good job of really explaining or like say really getting into the gaming industry, and it was just really really good. Essentially, I really like that part of the story essentially. And like I mentioned previously, I'm a software engineer, so I feel like I got to see that the author actually did their research. This was the first book that I actually read like with the mindset of like taking notes for a book club, and it was a really interesting experience. I read this book mostly when I was in transit, and I don't know how to explain it. There were some moments that I really wanted to react but I was in public, okay? I was in public, so I couldn't react, which is the life of readers. So in today's video, we'll be going over those notes that I took back when I was reading this book and just trying to persuade you guys to actually go check out the book. And of course, if I feel like this doesn't need to be said, but I'm gonna say it anyways, there will be spoilers. So if you want to read the book, I would suggest you stick around for maybe the beginning half of this video and then go dip to read the book. But there will be spoilers, guys. But I probably will let you know when we get to the point where it's like you should probably drop off the video. So like I mentioned, this book is set in the 90s, and it follows the story of there are two main characters. So we have Sam and Sadie, two best friends who are navigating life in the gaming industry, specifically more on the programming side of things, or maybe just the design aspect of gaming. I feel like you're gonna see how I got to know them through my notes, and I'm just hoping some of the notes will be funny. But let's just, without further ado, let's go check out the notes I took. Okay, ignore the other books you're gonna be seeing here. We have Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. Let's get into it. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So let's go to the highlights section. This is contents. I can see that the book is like pretty short. It's like only like less than 300 pages, not chapters. So let's see my highlighted notes. Let's start from like my first ever note that I put, and this is in chapter 1. Like how this is gonna go is that I'm gonna read the paragraph, and then I'm gonna give some brief context, and then we're gonna see the notes that I made. Okay, so Marx put on his coat, camel colored like Sadie's. Your friend is sick as hell and maybe a genius. How do you know him again? So I feel like I probably have to mention this. Sadie is a woman. This was our first introduction to the character Marx. In this context specifically, this was after Sam and Sadie had met while Sadie was trying to get to class, and Sam saw her from across like whatever the platform, and he starts to shout her name, Sadie, 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 and she doesn't turn, and then he does this like a whole inside joke thing that they had back when they were kids. Oh, Sadie, who died from dysentery, and it's like and then she turns back because it's just that kind of thing. It's an inside joke. And she turns back and it's like, they start to connect again. And brief character history. Like I mentioned, Sam and Sadie were best friends, like childhood best friends. And this is just them reconnecting again after such a long time. And of course, there's a lot of backstory as to why that even happened in the first place, why they disconnected after childhood and stuff. There are reasons. Sadie gives Sam her game solution. Sadie is a game developer. She was taking a class in game development at MIT, as one does. And Sam and Marx actually go to Harvard. Who would have expected? Who would have expected? But I feel like those are not really like fundamental to the story. They're not important to the story. So I feel like you can do away with like the school titles and stuff. So no worries if you don't remember that detail. It's not an important detail of the school that they went to. But it's just trying to show like how smart and driven they are. So when we're introduced to character Marx and he's like, oh, how do you know him again? It's kind of like, why did you assume that my friend who made this cool game is a dude? And that's probably what I said. I said him, not her. What century is this based again? And then, I was like, if Sam steals her work, I would literally flip. Because, like, you're like, oh, that friend who you're not close to as an adult, like, because you guys are no longer friends at this moment and stuff. He likes her game and he introduced it to his friend. It's like, ooh, if he steals her work, we are gonna fight. Okay? We are gonna fight. Oh my gosh. I probably started reading this book April 16th. Oh my goodness. That's like that's a year. Guys, happy year anniversary to when I read this book. And then, I'm not gonna go over any of these other details that are here. We're gonna go straight to the next highlights. Oh, there's a lot going on in this page. Okay, so Hannah frowned. Yeah, sorry, I have to run. Nice meeting you. Sadie didn't know why she bothered. You would think women would want to stick together when there weren't many of them, but they never did. I don't know, I feel like this is like the first statement Sadie probably made in the entire book. Probably not, definitely not the first statement, but it's probably the first thing that was striking to me to like understand more about her. And she's like, generalizing that like women would want to stick together. Let's see what I said. The generalization. I was like, what? Like, what if she had somewhere to be? Like, I don't think Hannah was brushing her off in this moment. I was kind of like, Sadie, you're in university. It's not high school. People aren't like required to talk to you. It's not a small space, But I do get her point in connecting with other women in class. Yeah, I do get her point. You know what? I'm just gonna read this entire paragraph, and we're just gonna go over it because it's a lot that is highlighted here. Hannah frowned. Yeah, sorry, I have to run. Nice meeting you. Sadie didn't know why she bothered. You would think women want to stick together when there were many of them, but they never did. It was as if being a woman was a disease that you didn't wish to catch. As long as you didn't associate with other women, you could imply to the majority, the men, I'm not like the other ones. I'm not like other girls. Sadie was by nature a loner, but she even found going to MIT in a female body to be an isolating experience. The year Sadie was admitted to MIT, women was slightly over a third of her class, but somehow it felt like even less than that. Sadie sometimes felt as if she could go weeks without seeing a woman. It might have been that the men, most of them at least, assumed you were stupid if you were a woman, or if not stupid, less smart than they were. They were operating under the assumption that it was easier to get into MIT if you were a woman. And statistically, it was. Women had a 10% higher admittance rate over men. Yeah, there's a lot of other things that are going on in this statement, but essentially you can kind of see that Sadie doesn't feel like she's connecting with other women at school, and like it speaks for itself. The imposter syndrome is strong, and it probably was stronger back then, when there were a lot of women who were in the tech space. But we love a woman in STEM, okay? We love a woman in STEM, and that is what Sadie is. When you're reading like the first few chapters, you just keep on being like, what time is this setting again? What time is this setting again? Like, really? Let's see what I said in the second one. The diversity quota causes a lot of imposter syndrome and misplaced jealousy, and it does. Okay, it really does. And honestly, once you get out of school, I feel like you can sort of build yourself outside of all of those assumptions. You get to prove to yourself, because you're not proving to anyone. You're proving to yourself that you're actually smart, and It's a good feeling, honestly, when you finally let go of that, imposter syndrome, and then you start to realize that maybe I'm actually that shit. She didn't want to present something that seemed cliche or too genre or too simplistic, graphically or in a ludic sense. Ludic, whatever. But after seeing her fellow seminarians be eviscerated by Dove, she knew that it barely mattered what she presented. Dove hated everything. Hated variations on Dungeons and Dragons, turned RPGs. If you don't know, RPGs means like role-playing games. Yeah, he hated platformers other than Super Mario, though he hated gaming console platformers. I feel like, as the name implies, the design itself is like platform oriented, so you're jumping from one place to another. I would say similar to Geometry Dash. Like that's a platformers game. If you fall, you die. You just have like a steady block, and you know kind of like that. Geometry Dash is one of them. There's another game my friend plays. I can't remember the name. It's a very popular game. It's like super complicated to play. I tried playing it and I literally died in like the first few minutes. Like you have to keep on tapping and tapping. Similar to Geometry Dash, you have to complicated tap moves and like you jump from walls and stuff like that. Very, very annoying game. But kudos to you. He hated sports, he hated cute animals, he hated games based on intellectual property, he hated the fact that so many games were based on the idea that one was either chasing or being chased. This dude hates Temple Run. Literally. Temple Run can be called a platformers game. It really could, but it's too dynamic. A platformers game is more of like 2D. You just like the screen is just panning with the character essentially. Temple Run is more of like, third person perspective. I feel like they're all third person perspective though. I'm missing what third person perspective means. Okay, but above all, he despised shooters, which meant he hated most of the games that were made by professionals or students, and a significant portion of games that were successful. Let's see what I said about Dove. Dove sounds insufferable. And Dove, you know what? This is how we're introduced to Dove as a character. And let me just tell you, I really do not want to talk about this dude. I really do not. But he is so vital to the story. I would go as far as calling him as an antagonist, honestly. Not even an antagonist, just a villain. Just a plain villain. You will probably understand soon why I do not like Dove. Just stick around to the end. You would get why Dove is an insufferable piece of Next highlight. I feel like I probably just move on. Oh, I forgot to provide context. So context here is that they're in like the class, and I feel like I should mention Dove is the professor of this class. Very vital to the story. Representing their assignment, they built like a sample game, and like Sadie is like struggling to present her game, since he already, as you can see, hates all types of games. Hate him. Hates this dude. Hannah Levin countered. I thought it sounded like an excuse. Sorry, I thought it sounded like excuse me if this is rude. I thought it sounded like a fart. Hannah Levin covered her mouth as if she had just farted. I'm never going to read the next statement that comes after this. Okay. So, context. Like I already mentioned, they're presenting a gaming class, and they're trying to impress the professor with the game that they developed. And everyone hates, he hates everyone's game. And Sadie presents, and she presents this really nice game called Emily. I think we just passed it. Emily Blaster. So it's like a poem game. This is not the game that Sam was playing in the beginning. The game Sam was playing in the beginning was Solution. I remember that distinctively because it's a really cool name for a game. And I love Solution. Her classmates hated the game because they thought the ink gun and stuff like that she added in the game, that she thought it sounded like a farts. Not really constructive feedback. But you know what? We're listening. And as you can probably, briefly read through, Dove thought her game was fun. Okay, Dove. And this is like my favorite part part of the entire story. Like, Sadie got an email from Hannah at the end of the weekend. Dear Sadie, I played your game and I honestly don't know what to say. It is disgusting and offensive. You are a sick person. I'm CCing Dove on this email. I'm not sure I'll be able to attend class because I'm too disturbed. This class is no longer a safe space for me. Hannah. Sadie smiled when she read the email. She took her time crafting a reply. Dear Hannah, I'm not entirely sure that you were disturbed by my game. I'm not entirely sorry, not sure, sorry, that you were disturbed by my game. The game is meant to be disturbing, and as I mentioned in class, it was inspired by my grandmother. And Hannah replied, F you, Sadie. You know, when you're reading this, you're like, what is even going on? Brief context. I already mentioned the game. Solution. So Hannah sent solution to the rest of her class that you guys should play through my game and, you know, enjoy your time. Love it. And oh my gosh, let me see what I said. I was like, damn, okay. No, because damn, okay, like, you don't like the game? I'm like, you know, what is going through your mind when you're reading this is like, oh my gosh, what happened in this game? What happened in this game? So Solution is a game where like you're just like completing tasks and stuff in like a factory setting. I don't know how to explain that especially. So you're just like, you have a bunch of tasks essentially as a character, and then you're just, you know, completing those tasks and everything. And if you complete all the tasks to the letter or like whatever, you do the task that they're asking you to do, you see at the end that thank you for your contribution and stuff, and like basically implying that you were a Nazi essentially. Like, oh, you do what you're told, you're a good soldier, kind of like that. And it's like, it's meant to like drive you to think about what you're actually, a task you're actually completing and stuff. And it was just, it's a really smart idea of a game. I was like, wow. Okay, once you had this information, you could potentially slow your output. You can make the bare number of parts required to be detected by the reach, or you could stop producing parts entirely. The player who did not ask questions, the good German, would likely get the highest score possible, but in the end they'll find out that what their fracture was doing. Fracture style scripts displayed blazed across the screen. Congratulations, Nazi, you have helped lead the Third Reich to victory. You're a true master of efficiency. Q. Media Wagner. The idea of Solution was that if you won the game on points, you lost it morally. Sadie's a damn genius. Okay, you're just like, how do you even struggle with imposter syndrome after you build such a thought-provoking game? No, because that's an amazing game. Damn, I want to steal this idea. JK, you know, just kidding. I'm not gonna steal the idea, okay? But you can kind of understand that the author did their research. They actually understood like the key points to game development, and I just feel like this is a really good idea. I would love to play this game. You know, like someone should make a game like this where you have no idea what the context is behind this, and I want that. And of course, Dove loved the game. And let's just see what happens next. My sense of humor is very dark, Dove said. Screw it. Do you want to get coffee? They went to a coffee place in Harvard Square near Dove's apartment. You heard that right. Near Dove's apartment. Near Dove's apartment. Oh. Just makes you feel icky, you know? What did I say? I was like, I don't know. I just find myself, my past self, funny. And I feel like I read all of this in like one sitting. Dove reached across the table and wiped a bit of coffee foam from her lip. Freaking dumb, guys. Like, oh gosh. We should start a support group just for like haters of Dove, honestly, please. What did I say? It's like, get the fuck out. Get out, please. No, really though, get out. Get out. Leave the room. What did I say next? Sadie hadn't worked on a game on her own since she'd been with Dove, though she did occasionally help him with his. Let's just give like a brief rundown of what happened between just like, a flip of a page. So, as you can probably already imagine, Dove and Sadie did the hoo-ha. But anyway, her professor, Dove, and Sadie, they started a relationship of sorts. She was losing herself in him. She was just losing herself in him. Sadie had been with Dove 10 months when she ran into Sam in the train station. Let's go! She saw him long before he saw her. Oh, where did that accent come from? She saw him long before he saw her. There he was, his coat civic over his boyish frame, his gait lurching but determined, his eyes focused ahead. She was quite sure he would never look back and notice her. And she was glad of it. He was unchanged, pure. He had not done the things she had done. Wow. As you can probably guess, I'm a huge fan of Sam. Like, he has his moments and stuff, but overall, Sam gives this whole like joyful vibe that you just really end up liking. But let's just go back to Sadie right now and then just see what she was thinking. She was like, he was unchanged, pure. He had not done the things that she had done. It's kind of like Sadie was going through it honestly at this time, and Sadie's like gets way darker than this. Did I mention that Dove was married? Did I mention that? I feel like I didn't mention that, but Dove is a married man. I don't know, pushing herself down like this and like, feeling like she is unpure, Compared to him, she felt aged and withered, and she thought if they had spoke, he would be able to sense her decay. But for whatever reason, he turned back, and when he called her name, she kept walking. But then he called out one more time, Sadie Miranda Green, you have died of dysentery. Sam could be ignored, but the childish shared reference could not be. It was an invitation to play. She turned. Gosh, the good writing! Oh my gosh, I don't know. I feel like I should check out this author's other works, because like, I don't know, I feel like the suspension that she builds, and then if you would notice, the story does this whole like back and forth panning. You would see a lot of like, the past, the future, the present. It's a lot of like bouncing around, and also bouncing around between perspectives. Like, for instance, it showed Sam's perspective up until when Sadie gives him solution to play, and it showed Sadie's perspective up until she met Sam at the train. It's like good writing, guys, good writing. Take notes, guys, take notes. You can hardly read ahead. She sometimes felt as if he was trying to find fault with her. If Sadie spent the day reading a novel, he'd say, when I was your age, I was constantly programming. Or if Sadie was too slow to complete a task Dove had assigned to her, he would say, you're brilliant, but you're lazy. In addition to working on Dove's game, Sadie had a full course load. If Sadie mentioned this to Dove, he would say, never ever complain. Or he'd say, this is why I don't work with students. See, if Sadie told him about a game she admired that he didn't think much of, he would tell her the reasons why the game was terrible, and that didn't go for games. That didn't just go for games. It was books, movies, and art too. It got to the point where she would never outright say her opinion of anything. She trained herself to be in conversations. What did you think, Dove? She was losing herself in this mediocre man. Please, girl, please. She has lost herself in this horrible man. I'm so annoyed because he let her fall for him before showing who he really was. Dove is just a sad, sad man. Sadie was moody and quiet the entire time. She was in California for the holidays. She felt fluish, permanently jet-lagged, worn out. She spent most of the holidays sleeping in her childhood bed under faded rose print sheets, reading the dog-eared paperbacks of her youth. What's wrong with you? Alice asked. Everyone's worried. Alice was in her first year of medical school at UCLA. Brief context. So I feel like I haven't mentioned how Sam and Sadie met because we would be like going towards this later on. So I feel like I should have really mentioned that much of the backstory. Sam and Sadie met when Sam was in the hospital, and Sadie was in the hospital because of her sister Alice, and Alice was Sadie's younger sister. I always just get the vibe that like that's Sadie's younger sister. But anyway, Alice was in the hospital a lot, and Sadie was there too, and that's how she met Sam in the first place. So let's see. I thought Alice had died. Moving on, but it was no secret that Alice never liked the idea of Sadie doing community service at the hospital. Again, brief rundown. Sadie. Sadie girl. But when she was a kid, her mom suggested that the nurse suggested that she get close to another kid who is going through it and he needs a friend. And then she could use it as part of her bar mitzvah, charity thingy. And I was just like, girl. Why? I was like, exactly. Her mom was so wrong for that. Her daughter is also sick, and I have no idea why she thought it would be a good idea. Of course, you can already think about this. Like, Sam did not deserve this. Like, imagine like the mom is like, your daughter is literally in the hospital too. How would you feel if some rando was like, okay, I'm gonna use your daughter for charity? The actual what? Let's move on. Oh, that's weird. Maybe they do have them and you never noticed, or maybe it's so kids can visit the other kids at the hospital. Brief rundown. Sam and Sadie connected over games, and they were really, really good friends, honestly, like really close. And Sadie, Sam is asking that, oh, why do you have to sign, this sheet? My grandparents have never had to sign it. I have never had to sign it. What is going on? And Sadie decides that this is a good lie to tell. Like, Sadie, please. You're a kid, but please. And then he's like, okay, Sadie, I really don't like you. The gaslighting is crazy. Because, what do you even mean? Maybe you haven't seen them because, they have them, but maybe you just don't see them. And, of course, Sam finds out all of this. The next day, Sadie's father drove Sadie to the hospital. She went to the desk, and the nurse went to get Sam, but he refused to see her. I'm sorry, Sadie, the nurse said. He's in a mood. Sadie sat in the waiting area and waited until her mother would pick her up 2 hours later. She wrote Sam a note using a couple of lines of BASIC, the rudimentary programming language she and Sam were both learning. This is so cute. It's like connecting again with a friend. What did I say? I called it cringe, guys. I called it cringe back then. What do you know? What do you know? So essentially what this code is essentially doing is that, we're starting from X. This is like a for loop. So printing 100 lines of I'm sorry, Sam, our Chili's Masoor. Printing 100 lines, guys, of that. And after that is printing please forgive me, love your friend Sadie Miranda Green. And asking, do you forgive me? If he says no, then go back to line 20 and start again from the beginning. Print 100 lines of I'm sorry and tell him again. And if he clicks yes, then end the program. And in your mind when you're reading this, you can feel like, oh, maybe they're setting up Sam and Sadie for the future, and you're kind of starting to ship them because they're childhood friends. Please, childhood friends always get married in the end. The nurse brought the note to Sam's room and then came back several minutes later. Sam had refused the note, and that night when Sadie imputed the program into her own computer, she realized she had made a syntactical error anyway. The freaking semicolon. Oh my gosh, I am getting horrible flashbacks. Till this day, having those flashbacks. Till this day. The one when you push the production but miss the semicolon. Please, honestly. This is why you write unit tests, okay? But do they even have unit tests for BASIC? Please. No, I don't think they paragraph. The only mention Freda made of the whole situation was when she was paying the bill. There are people like you and me, and we have bad things happen to us, and we survive them. We are sturdy. But with people like your friend, you must be exceptionally gentle, or they may break. What? 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 Like, what? I was like, what kind of shitty advice is that? No, because really, what are you telling this child? Like, you can already see the reason why they're in hospital because Alice had cancer, which is why I thought she had died. Even if things ended badly, it was a good thing you did for him and for yourself. That boy was utterly friendless, injured, alone. You were not a perfect friend, but you were his friend, and he needed a friend. What the again? Who is this Frida woman? Who are you? Please, who are you? What is it? That's such a like horrible line to say to a friend, like to a child, who about her friend. Like he was utterly friendless. Did he ask for help? Please. He leaned across the table and kissed her. She felt too tired to insist that if he was breaking up with her, the least he could do was let her go without a final. Because she was cool, but she wasn't sure she was that cool. I thought Sadie was the one that broke it off, but now I understand what even like occurred later on. The fact that it was Dove that broke it off with her. Let's keep reading before I read my comments. But it was hard for Sadie to talk without being angry or sad. She had come this far without being either of those things. Dove, she said, she wanted to say no, but her mouth didn't make the words. And in the end, she decided, what's the difference? She had had sex with him many times before, and she had liked having sex with Dove. What did I say? The first one? No one is that cool. No, Sadie was going through it, honestly, and I sympathize with her. Her feeling like she couldn't say no. Dove had broken this woman, honestly. He had broken her. She felt like she couldn't say no because what's the difference? They do it any other way. It's giving like we're married, so I just want to kill Dove, guys. I want to kill Dove. But now we can have like kind of solace that oh my gosh, at the very least, we're never gonna see Dove again. How many chapters is this? I feel like I've been talking for so long and we're only in 40 pages, guys. He organized the microfeedback into a spreadsheet with categories: sounds, delays, mechanics, prose, graphics, pacing, HUD, controls, general ludic thoughts. Ludic, hate that word. He hadn't decided if he would give her this file. So you can tell Sam really enjoyed playing Solution. He thought it was a clever game, and he was giving her feedback as someone who was a best friend and also passionate about gaming too. They started to love games together. Beautiful thing to see, honestly. I have no idea what Sam was. Actually, I have no idea what Sam studied. I actually have no idea what any of them studied. I know Marx was like a business major or something, or was he an art major? I have no idea, guys. But again, not really important. It's more of like their actions, which is really important. Let's see what I said about Sam's actions. I said, I have decided to adopt Sam. And true, you would feel like you want to adopt Sam because everyone's lives, the characters' lives get super sad and super dark, and it's just like you just want to like hold them like a baby, just cradle them in your arms because dude, they were going through it. They were going through it. What's next? Above the desk, he noticed a small frame drawing. It was a maze depicting the city of Los Angeles. The frame, a delicate carved bamboo, was sitting. Oh, sorry. The frame, a delicate carved. Oh, the frame, a delicate carved bamboo, was sitting to the left, so he straightened it. On the desk, he noticed a disc with Sadie's handwriting on it. Emily Blaster. Sam put the disc in his coat pocket, and then he left. Put that shit back. Put that shit back, Sam. I feel like I'm not really giving like a good review, but we're just reviewing my thoughts back then, my notes from back then, and I just hope I'm actually inspiring you guys to check out the book. Please do check out the book. It's a really awesome book, and I feel like you would like it. It's thought-provoking, guys. Thought-provoking. And so it went. Marx helped Sam with everything while never appearing to be helping Sam at all. And so coats miraculously materialized in plastic bags, just waiting for Sam to ask about them, and gift certificates for restaurants were always left before the holidays when Sam couldn't travel home. And when it became clear that Sam struggled to take the stairs at the dormitory they had been assigned to, and that the elevator was intermittently functional, I hate that word, Marx announced his intention to live off campus. Almost no undergraduates at Harvard lived off campus, and Marx said he understood if Sam didn't want to join him, and when the rent of the new place with the elevator was significantly more than what the dorm would have cost. And when the rent of the new place with the elevator was significantly more than what the dorm would have cost, Marx said he would take the bigger bedroom, which by the way wasn't much bigger. Sam could continue to pay what he had been paying for the dorm. The smaller bedroom had the view of the Charles, and when Sam didn't call home often, it was Marx who took the time to call the Lees back in Los Angeles. Harmony and Halaboji, he greeted them in Korean. Our boy is doing fine. Mark's father was Japanese and his mother was Korean American. So maybe I had misjudged Marx from the beginning. He's a guardian angel. He is amazing. You know, as you get further into the story, you just start to see how amazing Marx actually is. And you just like see how he truly cares for Sam. Sam is like his brother, guys. It's just beautiful to see. That doesn't matter, Marx said. It isn't about you. Just show up every day to check in with her. What if she won't talk to me? That's probably Sam. Let her know that you're there, and if you can manage it, bring her a cookie, a book, a movie to watch. Friendship. Have I mentioned how much I love Marx? Have I mentioned that? Context, of course, you know, Sadie's feeling a little bit depressed because after breaking up with Dove, she feels like she's lost herself. She's basically feeling aimless right now, and Sam clearly saw that when he came over to visit. He just wanted to be there for her, and this is Marx's advice to Sam: get her to take a shower, talk a little, go for a walk, open the windows if you can, and if things don't improve, see if you can get her to see a professional. And if things still don't improve, then you have to call her parents. Wow. Like, Mark sounds like someone who knows how to, like, you know, treat a friend, essentially. And you can clearly tell that with how he treats Sam. What did I say? Like, gonna take this advice. 100% gonna take this advice. You know, it's really solid advice. You know, we all need a Marx in our lives, honestly. We really do. Okay, moving on. You kept my maze, he said. I did. Now let's hear what you thought of solution. Sadie said. She stood up and opened the window of her room, and the air that came in was so crisp and cool. It almost felt like a drug. So, go easy on me, Sammy. You may have noticed I've been a little depressed. And so the story begins. I feel like this is like the background that you need to like get into the story, because why are you not into the story? This is the background that you definitely need. This is how we get to see the two main characters meet up and push forward. So we're like, what kind of adventures did they go on? What kind of adventures? What did they encounter? What trials and tribulations are they going through right now? You know, hats off to the author, honestly, because she really got you into that mindset of like, let's understand these characters better. Why do they make these decisions later on in life? And I feel like I didn't notice any plot holes. Maybe as I'm rereading all my comments, maybe I would notice some plot holes, but at the moment, really like it. Like it so far. So we skip like a couple of pages. That's good. That's good. So Sadie's instinct had been to tell Sam, but they weren't speaking at the time. At this moment, you're like, what the actual F, dude? Like, what? Like I mentioned previously, this does the whole like past, forward, future. It might be a little bit hard to get used to if you aren't used to like switches in books. And she does a good job of setting this up. We have Ichigo. So, brief context, I can explain a little bit on what Ichigo is. Sam and Sadie decide to make a game called Ichigo. And the game does take off, which is amazing for them, if I'm being honest. They really push towards the forefront of the gaming development industry, and it's good. You know, it feels good. And what goes through your mind when all of this happens is like, what the hell? Literally, we just had like a time skip right now. Previous chapter, we're seeing that, okay, they decide to make a game, and then now we're like, they're not speaking? Please. Please. I was like, what is even going on? I know I said I'm accustomed to reading back and forth through timelines, but come on. Okay, moving on. Oh, this is a juicy interview. So we're in the future now, 2017. Interviewer. It's sad that the original Ichigo is one of the most graphically beautiful low-budget games ever made, but its critics also accuse it of appropriation. How do you respond to that? How do you respond to that? I want to apologize for the game Sadie and I made. Long pause. We had many references: Dickens, Shakespeare, Homer, the Bible, Philip Glass, Chuck Close, Esker, I don't know. Another long pause. What is the alternative to appropriation? Interviewer is like, I don't know. The alternative to appropriation is a world where artists only reference their own cultures. That's an oversimplification of the issue. And Sam goes on forward to say the alternative to appropriation is a world where white European people make art about white European people with only white European references in it. Swap African, Asian, or Latin, or whatever sort of culture, whatever culture you want for European, or a world where everyone is blind and deaf to any culture or experience that is not their own. I hate that world. Don't you? I'm terrified of that world, and I don't want to live in that world. But if Ichigo had been effing Korean, it wouldn't be a problem for you, I guess. Hats off to Sam. He went off, honestly. He went off on this interviewer. And it brings the whole conversation about cultural appropriation and cultural appreciation. As you already know, Ichigo, my dude from Bleach. As you already know, Ichigo is a heavily Japanese reference. I feel like as a Nigerian, stuff like this is super weird to me because back in Nigeria, there's like multiple cultures. We have like over 200 tribes. I don't even know up to like 30. We have like 200 tribes and like 500 different languages. And it's just like wow, honestly. So there's a lot of like mixing that happens in Nigeria. Like if you live in the West, you're most likely going to be like, no matter wherever you come from, you're most likely going to be learning a different language, Yoruba, in school. And if you come from the East, you're most likely going to be learning Igbo. If you come from the North, you're most likely going to be learning Hausa. So, like, it's just like, come on. Come on. You know, like we're all mixing and stuff. When you do plays and stuff, you don't have to be Yoruba to act like a Yoruba person in a play. You don't have to be Igbo to act like an Igbo person in a play. Like, there's a lot of mixing that happens. So it's more of like Nigerians tend to care less about like where you're from and how it relates to what you're doing, like when it comes to entertainment at the very least. Like, I'm not gonna say Nigerians aren't tribalists. They're definitely tribalists. A lot of tribalism going on in Nigeria. I cannot begin to talk about catchment area. But what did I say about what Sam said here? I was like, oh, you went off. The interviewer was right about it being an oversimplification of the issue, but I think appreciation is sometimes seen as appropriation because it's kind of hard to know people's intent. Honestly, it is really hard to know people's intent. Okay, George had not made any contributions to the fund since. Sam knew these things mainly from Anna's acting class friend, Gary. He sometimes babysat for Anna when she had to go for work, and he was chatty to a fault. So George is Sam's dad. Deadbeat would be a better term. He's probably worse than a deadbeat. Absentee, if you will. And Anna is Sam's mom. Yeah, and then, adults really shouldn't be saying things around kids. If I'm being honest, like, he doesn't need to know that George does not care about him. I said, what kind of adult is that? Like, Gary, dude, please, be an adult. George said, I'm Jewish, which makes you partly Jewish as well. Sam was like, does it? Like, I know it probably doesn't seem like it, but you're half of what I am. Sam nodded. It wasn't my choice that we should see each other so little, Nodded again. I'm not saying it's Anna's fault, but your mother doesn't always make things easy. Did you know that I asked her to move here when she was pregnant? She refused. She said that she couldn't see herself raising a child in Los Angeles, and now she's here. George shrugged. What's funnier than people, right? And he's looking at Sam, expecting an answer. Did I mention that this dude was like a deadbeat already? Did I mention that? Like, poisoning people's minds. like, I'm like, this is a man child. What do you mean by this exactly? People who talk shit about the single parent who's actually in the child's life are just weird as shit. Like, come on, like, because what are you hoping to achieve? Like, what are you hoping to achieve, George? What are you hoping to achieve? That he's gonna be like, yes, dad, mom is shitty. Let's go. What? 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 Do you think you'd like to come to the blue sometime? Oh, to the boo. What the hell is the boo? Okay, Malibu. What is the boo? Who called? What is that? Okay, it takes a long time to drive to the boo. Okay, he's like, not that long. Maybe you'd like to meet my girlfriend. She's a very nice looking woman. I'm not saying this to brag, but to paint you a picture, it's important to make things visual for people. If you can do that, you'll be ahead of the game. Sam, my boy. He's a child, dude. What do you want him to say? Like, yes, your girlfriend is very sexy. The actual what? He said the check. He paid the check and shook Sam's hand again. George handed Sam a business card. George Masseur, Motion Picture Talent Agent, William Morris Agency. Imagine handing your kid your business card. Goes to show you how deadbeat he is. Like his kid doesn't have his number. I was like, I keep shitting on this man. Why would you not give your kid your actual number? Like, it's your business card. Like, we hate George too. Add George to the trash pile with Dove. We're kind of halfway there. We're getting there. We're getting there. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not bad. Let's go to the next one. See, we're jumping straight like what? 20 plus chapters? Come on. We're jumping like 20 chapters right now. I'm gonna wait here in case he calls. She said. Dove laughed. I forget how young you are. You're still at the age where you mistake your friends and colleagues for family. Yes, Dove, she said, trying to hide her irritation. When you have children, you'll be able to. When you have children, you'll never be able to worry about a friend as much again. Freaking Dove. Guys, you know when I said that, that's the end of Dove's part in the story? I was wrong. I was wrong, okay? You get to see Dove a lot more in the story. Like, can we kill him off, please? What did I say to this? I was like, can I slaughter this man? Like, the way he speaks, he talks down on her. And mind you, I feel like this was during the period where, like, she actually started to make it in like the gaming industry, and he's still talking down to her. Like, you are not her professor anymore, you are not her mentor anymore, you are nobody to her right now. I have no idea why you're even here in this story anymore. I have no idea. We're in the next part of the story. Now be a good girl. Oh gosh, I hate this part in the story. Can we skip through it, guys? Can we skip through it? I know, I said we're gonna read all my notes, and we're gonna read all my notes, okay? We're gonna read all of them. Maybe when I'm editing, I'll cut this out, please. Oh my gosh. You aren't disobeying me, are you? No, Dove, I didn't think so. Take off your clothes. You know what? I want to know where everyone was when they were reading this part of the book. I want to know where everyone was. Because for me, I was in transit. I wanted to punch someone. The S&M only started when they reunited in the fall. Sadie had been turned on at first, at least, and then slightly disturbed. On the night of his 13th. And then Russet faced he would phone his son back in Israel. Telly was 3. So my first comment, take off your clothes. I had to be like, what kind of book is this again? Like, what kind of book is this, please? What kind? What did I say about this? Consent to one thing but not the other. Dove is really shitty because literally you can hear her talking about how at first she was consenting at first, and further on down the line it's like this is just your face when you're reading the entire part. Honestly, like okay. There, Dove said, that's exactly it. That's exactly my point. Ichigo should be a boy. Oh, we are in the good part. Ichigo should be a boy, guys. Dove is not a developer in this game. But should I tell you where Dove comes into play? They used a piece of Dove's like platforms or something that he built in the game. So now he feels like he has a say in what's going on in the game. I hate creatives that implode on other creatives. Like it's not your game, dude. It's not a game. It's not your game. Just right when you think that like you can probably tolerate Dove, like he's a horrible person, horrible character, but if the characters are vibing with him, you know what? I respect their choice. But he says stuff like, "Shut up." Oh, this is the juicy part. I feel like I didn't. Why didn't I comment on this part? Okay, so at the meeting, Aaron was apologized if he looked haggard. But he stayed up for 2 nights playing Ichigo. Everyone knows you already, Mr. Mizura. He said to Dove, and he turned to address Sam. So you're the programmer, and Sam is like, I'm a programmer, but Sadie is the programmer. But Sam and Sadie designed the game together, but Sadie was the head programmer. She was the one who built the game. Because Sam wasn't. I don't think Sam was studying game development at the time, so he knew how to help out essentially with programming, but he wasn't really a developer. If you get what I'm trying to say. Aaron Opus nodded. He studied Sam's face, and then he studied Sadie's face, and he went back to Sam. Like, the little fella Ichigo looks a lot like you. Like, you're the face of the game, I reckon. Oh my gosh, this man is so Sam is like he wants to go with the bigger company because he's in debt and he just really wants to pay off his student loans. He wants to pay off like the surgery for his leg, and he just like real life game, real life game, real life game. He just kept on weighing the options, and he's like, I can do away with this. I get where Sam is coming from, but I also get where Sadie is coming from because she feels like everyone is attributing Ichigo to Sam. Like he's seen as the face of the company, which is like just because he's Asian and Ichigo is also Asian, like it doesn't mean anything. Sam was really struggling, and she, as much as she hated those guys, she loved Sam, honestly. And let's keep going. But the fact is, no one at Opus was pushing Sadie to put herself forward either. The men at Opus wanted Sam to be the face of Ichigo, and so he was. The gaming industry, like many industries, loves its Wonder Boys. Like, all of a sudden, Sam suddenly is the face of Ichigo. Like, in like the managers or like whatever you call them, they're like they're eating up Sam's backstory, the childhood injury, playing games and stuff like that. They're like, oh yes, this guy has a good backstory to be the face of this game, and they're like, oh, Sam's Asian, Ichigo's Asian, doesn't matter that Ichigo's Japanese and Sam's Korean, but like Asian's good enough and stuff. Yeah, and like even critics, the actual gamers and stuff like that, they started to see Ichigo and like see Sam, and it's like Ichigo became Sam's creation and not Sadie's. And oh my gosh, Sadie becomes a Disney princess. Cause like, what the actual hell? Like, and people never explored like his connection with Sadie because they were like, oh, they're not married, they're not dating, they're not siblings or anything like that. So people were like, it's too mystifying for us to even include her in the first place. So let's not include her, even though she's the game developer. Oh my gosh, things like this, you kind of understand why like Sadie becomes more frustrated with Sam and how he handles things. Yeah. And also she was still completing her like bachelor's at MIT while also doing a sequel for Ichigo, so she wasn't even in the spotlight and stuff. She definitely wasn't really comfortable in like being in the spotlight and stuff. And you have Sam who like is constantly in the spotlight for Ichigo and stuff, and he's just so anyway, no one was pushing Sadie to like be the head of the game, like go on interviews with Sam. Both of you should discuss the game together in an interview. No one's pushing her to do that. People were pushing Sam. And I said I really hate Sam right now Because it's fine for the opus people and for like the people that don't know how the game was built to like be pushing Sam because that's how they want to, I don't know, push things. But like Sam is someone who knows Sadie. He knows the work that they put in for this game. It's like, Sam, please look around you. Are you seeing Sadie here? Are you seeing her here? Like, freaking Sam. Like, this is one of those moments where you're like, Sam, please, please. Let's skip all of this and just go straight to the next part. Let's go. So lots of things happen in between all of that, and we have Sam and Sadie have like kind of like an argument on like the next game they want to do because they made Ichigo 2 and the game wasn't really as good as the main Ichigo, but that's because like, come on, Sam and Marx were going on this like press tour or whatever they were doing, and Sadie was the one actually staying back to fix the game, to build the game. So it's like Sam made an offhanded comment about like that yeah, it's shitty, and like Sadie's like, and then Sadie's like, oh, you guys, I want to build something this time that I don't want to build Ichigo anymore. Like, let's park it and move on, basically. And Sam is like, I want to move forward with like pushing Ichigo. Like, come on, we can't just let it die in a shitty sequel. And Sadie's like, I'm fine with that. And Sam is like, no, don't you want to run this by me first and stuff? And then Sadie's like, I would run it by you. I would have run it by you, like, if you were actually there. And then Sam is like, you should have come with us. I asked you to come with us. And then Sadie's like, I was back there actually building the game. And she's like, I was actually the one building the shitty game. And he's like, oh yeah, I can see that. Like, all her work was shitty? Sam, please, 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 please. Please, Sam, mind yourself, okay? Mind yourself. Oh, Sam. Let's move on to the next section. So this is like after their arguments, and then Sam calms down and he's like, you know what? Let us actually park Ichigo. I felt like we've been centered on me too much. I want to go with your idea. Let us build the next game that isn't Ichigo. And Sadie propositions the game to Sam, and then all things are made all fair and square and love and war and all that shit. Anyway, okay. So moving on. Partners, you wouldn't even have this company if it weren't for me. Let's backtrack because freaking Dove, We've spoken dozens of times since you must have decided all of this. Yes, but it's hard to talk to you when you're in Israel. You're always so attached, distracted when you're with Telly. Dove sat in his bed and watched Sadie empty the beer room. Squinted. He squinted as if it was a problem with his eyes. He put his head in his hands. Do you want me to ask you to marry me? Is that what you want? Sadie's like, no, you can't anyway. You're married. And then he's like, do you want me to get a divorce right now? Because I will. I will call Bachelor right now. I will get a divorce. Gosh. No, Sadie said, I don't believe you. Okay, no, Sadie said, and I don't believe you. If you were going to do that, you would have done it already. And Dove is like, are we breaking up? I don't know. Are we? Okay, so she's like, I don't know. Yes, I think we are breaking up. And then he pushed her down on the bed and he pushed his tongue in her mouth. She lay there limply. And he's like, you think you're a cool bitch now, don't you? Freaking Dove. Okay. She looked Dove in the eye. No, I just want to go to LA and help my friends and make my game. Sam is not your friend, Sadie. Don't fool yourself. That's what my partners wanted to do, and that's what I'm doing. He's like, partners? You wouldn't even have a company if it weren't for me. Freaking Dove. Dove said, I gave you Ulysses. I set you up with publishers and industry people. I gave you fucking everything. Thank you, she said, for fucking everything. And he's like, take off your clothes. And she said, no. And he said, you think you're tough now, don't you? She knew what was coming. He pushed her into the headboard, and he reached for his nightstand drawer and snapped the handcuff around her wrist to the bedpost. He'd done it so many times. Sometimes it had aroused her, And sometimes sometimes it annoyed her, and sometimes it had frightened her. This time, Sadie felt nothing. She didn't fight him, she let it happen. It reached under her skirts, between her legs, and he yanked her underwear off and he threw it across the room. He wouldn't have sex without her consent, but he felt free to make her uncomfortable and embarrassed. He slammed the door to the bedroom, and she could hear him smacking something, the wall, the sofa in the other room. She picked up the phone with her free hand and called Sam. Oh, sorry. His grandmother answered the phone. What did I say? What did I say at this point? Like, this is precisely why you don't do business with egotistical assholes. Like, can we phase out egotistical assholes? Like, it's only like a little part of the game that you actually helped her with. And, like, it's something you built already. She could have used an open source one instead of your shitty Ulysses. Gosh. Okay. And he goes, take off your clothes? Who the hell does this man think he is? What did I say? I said I wanted to effing kill him. And I do want to kill him. Can we kill Dove? Is that something we can do? Like, actually kill him? Please. I'm begging. Can we kill him? Like, really, though. I do want to kill him. I'm just gonna move on from this. And she called Sam. Like, the fact that he doesn't make her feel safe, guys. Like, he would never, like, have sex with her without her consent, but he's okay with making her feel uncomfortable without her consent. Make it make sense, guys. Make it make sense. Dove is a shitty person. There is nobody who likes Dove, even his mom. Okay. She spent the next day packing up her life, intermittently arguing with Dove, going over the same ground. He told her she was nothing. She in turn said nothing. He apologized. She packed. He insulted her. She packed. He apologized again. She packed. The last thing she packed were the handcuffs. She didn't want Dove to use them on some other girl. She wasn't sure if this impulse came from the sense of sorority or sentimentality. So I'm just like, Dove is a shitty person, guys. He is. She mentioned that he wasn't abusive, but you know what? I will go as far as to say this is abuse. He is just emotionally barraging, whatever you want to call it. I have no idea what he's doing right now. I was like, I want him to suffer so bad, and it's so painful because spoiler alert, he doesn't suffer. Gosh. Anyway, I feel like we have gotten to a point where you should probably drop off the book. This is like halfway into the book. Like, I don't want to spoil further than this because I feel like it's gonna get a lot much darker down from here. So, guys, keep track. If you've been watching with us so far and you don't want any spoilers, I would suggest you actually leave. So, please. So, he drives her to the airport and he's like, I'm a beast, but I fucking love you, girl. Oh, this guy is cringe. He is so cringe. What did I say? Girl, run. Girl, please run for your life. Okay, so in games, the thing that matters the most is the order of things. The game has an algorithm, but the player must also play algorithm. What? But the player must also create a play algorithm in order to win. There's an order to any victory. There's an optimal way to play any game. Sam, in the silent months after Anna's death, would obsessively replay the scene in his head. If she doesn't take the job on press that button, and if Anna can afford to buy the new car, if Anna buys the new car but drives directly home after dinner, if the first Anna Lee doesn't jump from that building, and if Anna never comes to Los Angeles, if Anna doesn't stop driving after she hits the coyote, if Anna finds the emergency lights, if Anna never sleeps with George, if Sam is never born, there are, he determines, infinite ways his mother doesn't die that night, and the only one way she does. So here we see how Sam even got in the accident that, got his feet, his leg, like permanently, um, you know, permanently broken essentially, and he watched his mother die, which is so painful. It's in these moments you start to understand Sam, essentially, how he overthinks, why he's the way he is, how he got his leg broken in the first place. Sam was going through it, and Sadie was going through it. And they're just like, they really need each other right now as friends. At this moment, I was just praying that Sam and Sadie never get together, because, like, I was so tired of authors pushing that to us, and I was like, I would flip if they end up together, but ultimately it wouldn't make it a bad book if they did, essentially. So here, like, you can't blame yourself for your mom's death, Sam, because he really can't. He's really thinking of different possibilities that would have happened if, like, they never moved, if she never met his dad, if he wasn't even born in the first place. Maybe she should have been successful and she wouldn't have driven her car that night that got her killed. But you can't take things back. You can't change the past. You can't change anything in time. So it's just like, Sam, I'm not even going to say forgive yourself, because you did nothing wrong. Moving on. If it was true, it was absolute betrayal. Sam had wanted what he wanted, and he hadn't cared what it would mean for Sadie. He had wanted the Ulysses in the same way he had wanted to deal with Opus, in the same way he didn't truly care if Ichigo was a boy, in the same way he let everyone in the world believe Ichigo was his game, in the same way he had renewed their friendship for the sole purpose of making a game in the first place. She let herself think Sam was her friend, but Sam was no one's friend. It wasn't as if he was dishonest about him. When she told him that she loved him, he never once said he loved her too. She had made excuses for him: his absentee father, the death of his mother, his injury, his poverty, and the obvious insecurities these things had caused. But what if her mistake had been in imbuing Sam with emotions and sentiments that he was incapable of feeling? So here, we find out that the only reason why Dove is even part of this game in the first place was that Sam wanted to use his Ulysses. And she's like, how did Sam even know Dove existed? How did this even happen? And she recalled, she hadn't even mentioned that Dove was, her boyfriend or her teacher. So how did he know? So, Dove gives her this game. This is not like a copy she bought or anything. So, yeah. Dove put, to Sadie on her 20th, the sexiest, most brilliant girl in in ADV, advantage, what is going on? ADV, games. In advanced games? Oh, most brilliant girl in advanced games. I'm thinking that's a class name. Okay, so, Love DM. She'd forgotten that, Dove had signed it, so she's, connecting the dots. She's like, Sam played this game. He played the CD that I had. So he would have seen the message that Dove wrote. He would have incurred that, that time when I was depressed, it was probably because my boyfriend broke up with me or something like that. He knew that he didn't want, she wouldn't want any connection to the person who even made her depressed in the first place. This is the reason why they even got back together. The only reason why they got back together after they initially broke up was because of the game. Like, he would have been able to guess that that was her ex-boyfriend. He's not dumb by any means. He would have guessed that it was her ex-boyfriend. And he had seen what he did to her. He had seen the outcome of their breakup. So she's just like, if I hadn't met Dove, he would have never had this much power against me in this like professional space. We wouldn't have gotten back together. He wouldn't have had any input or say in my game. So she's putting the dots together and she's like, Sam doesn't care about me. He's all about me, 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 me. And I was just like, no, he did not do that. What did I say? I was like, girl, no. Because like, it was like, you know that moment when your world comes crashing down? Sam, the idea of Sam you have in your head, this poster boy, this really nice person who's had life just handed to him like a heavy hand. And this guy who like truly cares for his friends, but like, you know, like he has to pick and choose between like, you know, what life has dealt him and making his friend happy. And he sometimes makes wrong choices, but at the end of the day, he's still human. He's a good person. He is a good person. And you just see what he did. I was like, no way. Sam did this? The Sam that we know? And you come to understand that Sam is still a man. And it's just, oh my gosh. Sam, why? So anyway, she moved to LA essentially with Marx and Sam. She hadn't unpacked and stuff, and we're just getting to understand like she discovered all this when she was unpacking, by the way. So right now, Sam is in the hospital. I think that's also another reason why she wanted to also move. That he's in the hospital, he really needs her right now, and as she has probably already seen, she likes him. He's someone who's always been there for her. She had never really known love, essentially, because Dove is a shitty person. So she's like, Sam would be good for me, you know? And I can feel like we can build something together, you know? Like, you know, we can be dating and stuff. Yeah. Let's see the future. Oh, we're almost done. Oh my gosh, guys. We only have a couple of more stuff. I did a lot of time skips. So that's good. Maybe we could live here someday. Girl, what? Maybe we could live here someday. What do you mean we could live here someday? It was Marx that was saying this. So, brief run through. Sadie and Marx started to date. You know, she discovered that like she's not attracted to Sam anymore, and Marx is good to her, and they started dating. And at first I was like, oh no, I hope she's not using Marx to get over Sam or anything like that. I just hope she's not coming in between their friendship, but she is not. And she is just doing great, by the way. You're probably like, I'm probably skipping a lot of things in between, and that is because I am. Things get a lot darker even after this. There was a brief period where like Sam was moody because he knew that Sadie and Marx were dating, and he did like Sadie, you know? And we get a little bit of backstory about how like Marx and Sam even became friends in the first place. And the reason is because Sam's mom, Anna, that is the same name that Marx's mom has. So he always felt like they were brothers. It was just, it was the most beautiful backstory ever. I really loved it, honestly. Like, I feel like I can go on and stuff, but let's move on to the next part. You're gonna hate me for jumping this skip right now. It's super bad. Like, I feel like there weren't any notable moments here. This is just like, you know, the calm before the storm, because the storm was a really bad storm, you know? And let's just skip to the storm. The nameplate on your desk reads, Watanabe, Tamer of Horses. I wanna cry so bad right now. I wanna cry so bad right now, but we're on camera. We're not doing that on the internet, no. I wanna cry so bad right now, guys. I'm remembering how I was reading this. Backstory. Let's just do a backstory. Let's just skip straight to backstory, okay? So what happened was that after Sadie made the game, both sides and stuff, didn't really blow as much as Ichigo, essentially. And people started to say, oh my gosh, Sadie's game is a flop, Sadie's game is a flop. Like, bring back Sam, we want Sam's game, we want Sam, we want Sam. Come on, gamers, shut the hell up. Shut the hell up. You know what? Shut the hell up, gamers, shut the hell up. Oh my gosh, shut the hell up. I will just, oh. I think I'm getting pissed off at the past. Like, it's not even relevant that they didn't like the game. But anyway, they didn't like the game as much, but they've built, like, a gaming empire. Oh, empire is too much. Okay, but they have their own company now. They're no longer working under anyone. They have their own company, and Marx is the CEO simply because Sadie and Sam do not want any of the business side. So like Marx handled all the the actual managerial duties, the one, because they're both developers and designers, they don't really connect well on a human level, and they're both introverts too. So Marx was the one that was pushing like the business itself, so he got the big office and whatnot, and plus also they were using the apartment for the beginning of the development of the game, and they didn't mind essentially at this point. So so they're still like in the gaming development business. They're building multiple games and stuff. And then Sam is doing an interview or something about how like Sam does a couple of interviews, and now Sam is actually leaning a lot more into the whole into being an advocate essentially. And he's like talking about a character in a game or something like that, how he doesn't care, like, about the gender or something like that, and he also doesn't care about, like, the sexuality or anything like that. And it's like I feel like I'm definitely skipping a bunch of key points in here, but the main point of why I'm telling you all of this is to tell you that a couple of dudes came to the company and they're like, we don't like how you're moving. We don't like how you're moving. We're here to find Sam. So people that didn't agree with Sam's sentimentals or whatever, they didn't agree with Sam, and they thought it would be a good idea to come to the company and shoot him. You see where I'm going with this? So I don't want to rehash this entire story again, but Marx comes down as the CEO to kind of settle things out, and he unfortunately gets shot. Marx gets shot and killed. And you're like, no, he didn't die, he didn't die. He's not dying. Like, it's just like for, something to spice up the story, he's not dying. And then you see the nameplate reads Marx Watanabe, Tamer of Horses. And he's just recounting how he met Sadie, like, and then how he met Sam, and then we go into like Sadie's perspective of like how she even finds out that like Marx died, and then she's thinking about like when he's like he wants to be her husband and just the life that they could have. And then now Marx is in a medically induced coma. I'm just reading along and telling you this. And we see how it happens again. So like, he's like, this is my company. And he's like, we want Mazer. Show us Mazer. And it's like, what do you want with Mazer? We just want Mazer to come down here. And it's like, he's not around, Like, and Marx is telling Sam about how much he loves Sadie. We're going a lot of like back and forth right now. We're seeing like Marx in his final moments. We're seeing his conversations he's had with his girlfriend Sadie, with his conversations he's had with his best friend Sam, and it's just the man is agitated and whatnot, and he shoots Marx. We get this moment. A few seconds before you pass out, your phone rings. It's Sadie. Sadie, by the way, is pregnant. And we find out, like, Sam finds out in the hospital that, his mom and Marx's mom share the same name. And that's why Marx is, you know, Marx treats Sam as his brother. We're like, okay, okay, okay. Okay, he's in a coma. He's doing well. He's okay. And then we read some hours, days, or weeks later, you listen to a doctor tell your mother and father in all outrageously serene voice that you, Marx Watanabe, citizen of the world, are going to die. So he's hearing them conversing while he's in a coma. You're a gaming person. Which is to say that you're the kind of person who believes that game over is a construction. The game is only over if you stop playing. That there's always one more life. Even the most brutal death isn't final. You could have taken poison, fallen into a vat of acid, being decapitated, being shot 100 times, and still, if you clicked restart, you could begin it all over again. Next time, you would get it right. Next time, you might even win. But it cannot be denied. Body cannot be denied. You feel the body is sludgy, moving through the circulatory system at the speed of I-10 at rush hour. The heart is not beating on its own. The brain is slowing down. Increasingly, the brain is flying off. Soon, you will not be you. You, like all of us, are deictic case. Deictic? Look up deictic. Deictic is deictic. Deictic? Isn't that day? This is day, right? It's deictic, sorry. EI is deictic, yeah. So it's an adjective relating or to or denoting a word or expression which means, depending on, please just say this. I have no idea what that's supposed to mean. You're a tamer of horses. And let's just fast forward over that. It's okay, Mark. Sadie says you can let go. As the brain is detaching from the body, you think, how I will miss the horses. I am not gonna cry. Okay, guys. And then after all of this, we get to see how, again, like I mentioned, how Sam and Marx met each other and became really close friends. 17 days after the shooting, 2 days after Marx's funeral, Simon called Sam. So anyway, the following days after Sam's murder, of course, everyone is devastated. Of course, we see that, like, Sam and Sadie are not able to keep the company afloat, but Sadie is obviously downer because she is pregnant, guys, with Marx's baby. She's pregnant, and at this point, Sadie has sort of cut off contact with Sam because she blames Sam for Marx's death. She blames him for his death. And Sam now has to step up and fill the shoes that Marx has left behind. Like, Marx kept the bills paid. Marx paid the bills. Marx was the one who spoke to, like, other companies. He was the one that, like, did the actual practical business day-to-day kind of stuff. And Sam and Sadie were creatives. He did that so that they could just stay and be creatives. You can feel that the heart of the friendship was Marx, and now that he's gone, it's Marx is the heart of the friendship, and now that he's gone, they basically just fell apart. I'm gonna do like a severe time skip right now, and I just don't want to read through their grief anymore. So anyway, Sadie no longer is attached to the company. Like she quits the company. She still has stocks and stuff, but she's no longer like a creative in the company anymore. And Sam has essentially taken over as like the creative and also kind of like a CEO and stuff. I think they and I'm not really sure what they did on like the business side of stuff, but they were still developing games. And they make a new game and Sam and Sadie meets in game. And it's such a beautiful moment to see when they meet in game and you know Sam realizes that this is Sadie. He intentionally approaches her, and Sadie realizes that this is Sam, but she doesn't want to actually verify that because she doesn't want to end the connection that she has with him. At the moment he exposes himself as Sam, she quits the game and never comes back. We can see what Sadie was screaming at Sam. They wanted you. They wanted you. So anyway, after Marx's death, we're moving on. Everyone's moving on. Sam and Sadie are no longer as close. They just keep it so kind of like businessy kind of stuff. Like they don't speak. Essentially, she couldn't bear to see him. Honestly, she couldn't bear to see him without feeling like he was the one responsible for Marx's death. So she goes back to work. She ends up becoming a professor, and Sam is still, well, developing games essentially. And let's just do a time skip again for like 80 chapters because I was just reading in like auto mode, honestly. I couldn't bear to even comment on what I was seeing because it was just too much. And then there's this moment, how many years later? I think like 5 years later. Oh, I'm sniffing now. Anyway, there's this moment, how many years later? Like 5 years later. And they meet again. And she turns to Sam and says, "You still game, right?" So like it was like an invitation to kind of continue playing. And he's like, "Of course. You know I do." And now they're like trying to exchange contact information again. And the next thing we see, let's just read the last paragraph here together. "If you come, I have a Donkey Kong machine in my office. Old friends pay for free." Sam watched Sadie disappear into the connecting tunnel, and then he looked down at the drive. The game was called Ludo Sextus. Sadie had handwritten the title. He would know her handwriting anywhere. Notes and acknowledgements. What did I even say here? Like, what did I say? Screaming and crying. Because this is like years after. Like, we do not hear of Sam and Sadie in the same room ever again, ever since Marx's death. This is like 50 pages later. And I was just like, no effing way, that's the end. Did I even react to this? What did I put to this? I said no, lol. So we have reached the ending of Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. What did you guys think? For me, I think, like, again, you've seen my notes and stuff. I think it was a beautiful book. But we do not forgive the death of Marx, okay? We do not forgive the death of Marx. There was no need to have all of us go through all of that. It was painful. We did not want it. You could have had anyone else die. Please have anyone else die. But you know what? It's fine. not a problem. So anyway, anyway, he's dead. Like, his death really just shook me like really deeply, and I didn't know how to feel about that. As you can tell, I'm like pretty down in the dumps, and I have to go out right now. So down in the dumps, guys. What were your favorite parts in the book, guys? What did you not agree with? What thoughts did I have that you did not agree with? Let me know. And it's just, let's continue this journey together. This Let's Talk series, I really feel like it would give me an opportunity to actually share my thoughts and stuff and what I'm into. And we can just open that conversation. If you're a fan of the book too, do let me know. What would you have preferred to see? Would you have liked Marx to still be alive? Like, I know I would have liked Marx to still be alive, but you know what? I'm just being picky. To the author, Gabrielle Zevin, you did an amazing job. I love the writing style. Absolutely love the writing style. It was nice to see. I like the storytelling, the whole back and forth, the whole future, past, present. Loved it. And of course, I love a good open ending. A good open ending is always the best way to end a book. It leaves thoughts. It leaves, like, you can put whatever story you want at the end of the story. Because, like, oh my gosh, I wanted Sam and Sadie to get together at the end. Marx is dead now. You can imagine they got together in the end. Personally, I choose to believe that they just reconnected and became really good friends and just connected over that, And in another context, like in another separate context, I think that, you know, Sam and Sadie could work, they could work. But I loved her and like Marx. It was a good way to subvert our expectations. But killing him off was not the way, guys. It was not the way. So I think I've ranted enough, and I'm tired right now. I'm just super tired right now. So anyway, let's answer the big question I'm gonna ask myself at the end of every book talk. Essentially, with this goal in my bookshelf, would I buy this book? Like a physical copy of this book? Would I buy it? The answer is, drumroll please. Yes. I will buy this book. I will buy this book. It's 100% worth the read, worth the time, worth the energy to transport every single time you move, because it is a good book. I would definitely buy this book. And I'm going to check out this author's other works. Um, Beautiful, beautiful book. I would buy this book 100%. I guess that's it. In another video, we will talk about my journey into reading. I mentioned that I'll have like a journey with series. Probably will kick that off soon, maybe talk about my journey into like actually reading. Crazy journey, honestly. Like, I have read a lot of books, good ones and bad ones, shitty ones and even shittier ones. So I'm no stranger to books, okay? So, hope you enjoyed the video, guys. You got to see me teary-eyed, which I am super embarrassed about, but I'll see you next week.